welcome to A Homespun House. I've been really busy this week doing a lot of handcraft, a lot of knitting, just a lot of totally random things. Before I get started, I wanted to say that I posted a questionnaire kind of thing in the Ravelry group, just kind of saying, ask me anything. I think I posted this only a couple of days ago, not too long ago, so if you guys want to ask me something, I'm sure I'll do another one of these again. And I will be answering all of these questions near the end of the episode. So if that's something that you're interested in, definitely stay tuned. If not, then turn the camera off or turn off the video when I'm finished answering questions. I said you can ask me about anything you want. It doesn't have to be anything knitting related. So yeah, nothing really crazy has been going on this week at all. I can't even really think about what we've done. Robert was gone for a while this past week in Oldenburg for a play that he's doing, the same one that he's been doing. His last shows will be in February. So yeah, so he was gone for a while. It was just Elodie and I and Kira. Thank you guys so much for all of your replies about Kira. We haven't taken her to the doctor, but it's definitely not a urinary infection. And Robert cleans her litter box every single day. He has since we've gotten her, so it has nothing to do with her litter box being clean or not. I think she just is maybe a little bit threatened by Elodie, or she thinks that she's really loud. Because Kira is she's so shy and she's so timid and she's so kind of untrusting. That is one of the hard things that I would say about getting a cat that is adopted, or adopting a cat, I mean, because you really don't know their past. I mean, I feel like it's a really nice thing to do because so many people are buying all of these newborn kitties, and these older cats need homes, so which is one of the reasons why we wanted to take her. But I think especially with children, it's really important to get a cat who's used to children and loud noises, and who isn't so afraid. Now, of course, we're keeping her. Of course, we really, really care about her and are enjoying her, and we know that it will take her time, but she's definitely afraid. And we've had her for, goodness, I don't even know, is this 3 or 4 weeks? It must be the 3rd week that we've had her. And she's come out so much more. She's definitely spending more time with us. She's not hiding at all anymore. She sleeps a lot, and she comes out and loves to be pet. And she's very vocal when you're talking with her, like I said. So anyway, what we've decided to do on this is we've been leaving the door open, and she will often go and kind of, you know, be interested in Elodie's room. And the second she gets a chance to go in there, she kind of goes over to the bed. She just wants to claim this bed as her own for some reason. I have the feeling. And I think that she's threatened by Elodie, and I think that, like I said, she's too loud, and Kira just thinks she's obnoxious. And anytime Elodie comes near Kira, she's running. So we've started letting Elodie give her food in the morning and in the night, and giving her a snack when Elodie comes home from Kita. So she kind of is starting to see Elodie as a provider and hopefully friend. So we've been keeping the door closed. There has been one time that the door was left open, and Kira did indeed go in and pee on her bed, which is frustrating, of course. We don't want to be leaving that door closed all the time. And so I read a lot about it online, and someone else suggested that we get like a cat pheromone sort of thing. So I think I got Feliway is what it's called. It's definitely expensive. I think it's 30 euro or 25 euro about. And you have to use it every single day. We got the spray one, not the one for the room, which lasts a month. This one you have to spray every day. And so we're going to try that and see how that works, spraying it on Elodie's bed. I hope it works. It should be here in a couple of days, three days or so. So wish us luck with that. I will definitely update you at the end of the episode. Kira loves my yarn. Thank God my yarn is way up high on the shelves. But she's definitely become interested when I'm spinning. And I guess I can go straight away into spinning. It's something that I'm not normally talking about right away, but I've been having a little bit of fun spinning. I haven't been spinning a whole lot because I have been spending a lot of my time knitting. So I ordered 3 bags of, what are they called? Fuzzlings from Fondant Fiber. And a lot of them had doubles, so I kind of rebagged them into similar fuzzlings. So this is kind of the random fuzzling that has all different fibers in it. And I love these. These are going to be so much fun to spin because I have been talking about just really enjoying small spinning projects. This one's really finely compact. But I love the stellina in there. I'm learning that stellina is something that I love to spin. So I won't show you all of them, but 6 of them come in a pack. And I think they're 7 pounds, which is about €10 for 6 of them. So quite affordable. It's 50 ounces. Or 50 grams, not ounces. And then these, a lot of mauve tones and purples and pinks. And I may even ply some of these together, spin them and then ply them together, because I have 3 of the pink and purple and then 3 of the maroon and cream colored ones. So there are those 2. And then I have these ones with blacks. And then these kind of more cotton candy with a lot of bamboo in them, it looks like. And stellina, of course. So I guess I can put that over here. And the one that I'm spinning right now, I had to spin this as soon as I saw it, is this really, really pretty blue and stellina. There's stellina in there, some gold stellina. Turquoise. It's kind of more of an aqua sea colorway, and I absolutely love it. I'm not sure what the blend is there. I think there must be a little bit of silk in there, because I know that Deb from Fondant Fiber is making a lot of silk in her in the fiber that she makes. And so I'm having fun spinning that one. I will apply that one on itself. I'm not going to, or not on itself, I will 2-ply that one. And maybe I'll try Navajo plying. I tried plying on the fly for that one. I just watched a really quick video on YouTube. I think the woman who was teaching was not a very good teacher. It was just way too long of a tutorial. And yeah. I wasn't enjoying it. I was sitting in bed. It was late at night, and I just thought, whatever. I'm just going to spin a bunch of singles, and then in the end, probably just Navajo ply it and not ply it on the fly. Or even chain ply it, which is all that I've done, and I really, really love chain plying. I like the look actually a bit better than Navajo plying. But I do want to Navajo ply just to learn the technique. And who knows, maybe it will become a technique that I really love. And I know that it's something that I really want to learn how to do, because I have some yarns that are really kind of more gradient, or yarns that I want to spin and I really, really want to keep the colors together. I don't want them to be so barber pulled. So as far as the Yarngasm D-Spackle, I have probably only spun the teeniest bump. There is no point in even showing that to you. But for those of you who haven't seen what fiber I'm using, let me just grab a little piece. I am using the Artist Palette Yarns Merino Bamboo in Pink Tourmaline colorway. So this is what it looks like. It is different shades of pink and red and maroon, and it's 50-50 merino bamboo, and the bamboo definitely adds a really beautiful shine to the yarn, and that is a dream to spin with. I was really excited to get my fuzzlings, back to the fuzzlings, this month. Such a fun package that I was waiting for, and I've seen everyone with their batlings or yarny tribbles, and I saw that Deb from Fondant Fiber had them on a couple of different people's Instagram feeds. Elena's from A Wee Bit Nitty podcast, which I've just started watching. I don't know why I've never seen it before, but I love it. I really feel totally inspired to really get into sock knitting again, and I've been having a look at her patterns, and I've seen, I think I maybe favorited 2 of them that I really would like to knit. And yeah, I really like her podcast. She has some Norwegian yarn that's her favorite yarn for knitting socks. It's called Avette something, and I'm gonna go ahead and order 2 skeins because they're 50-gram balls. So I'm gonna go ahead and order 2 skeins and see how I like it and try knitting a pair of socks. It's as well a solid color. They don't have variegated or tonal or any of this striping yarns, which I like. I'm kind of into knitting at the moment. My mindset is into knitting more plain socks. I think about ordering a couple more skeins of Dawn of the Tweed from Reggie. I have 2 in my Amazon cart. And yeah, I've really kind of been thinking about socks lately. So I would be very happy to be filling up my sock drawer. I have been working like a beast on my Cozy Memories blanket yet again. I had to stop knitting on it because I could have knit on it all week. I really could have just knit on it all week and had that be the one project that I worked on. I'm sitting on it. I didn't even realize. It's so nice now because it is such a large size. I would say it's an 1/8 of the size that I would like it to be, because I want this to be a really big family blanket. Or maybe a 1/6 of the size. I haven't decided yet. But it's really a nice size. It completely covers Elodie from feet to underneath of her neck. I believe I have 110 squares. And this week I knit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Did I knit 10 squares? See, that's the problem. I can't remember which ones I've knit and which ones I haven't knit. So I believe that I had just started this one, to be honest. That's what I'm thinking. Or I think so. And then I knit this one. No, I had already knit this and this and this. I think maybe I was on this one. Who knows? Anyway, Melinda, Yarnder Woman podcast, you gave me this yarn. The tag must have fallen off, and I have no idea what it is, but I want to get a skein of this yarn because I adore it. I think it would make the sweetest shawl or even baby knit. I really love the cream with the yellow, blue, and purple and green. Just little pieces in there. I want to know what yarn this is because I need to buy some. And I love this one too, this pink. I would love to know what this is. Here's the purple. And not all of these this time are from Melinda. A pink, that's from Philippa. I remember all of her yarn, which is funny because she sent me the most. So it's funny that I remember every skein that she sent me. And then these 3 are all from Melinda. They were just kind of leftover little balls. And then this one as well is from Melinda. So yeah, it's a little bit, there's no way I can show you all of it, but I can spin it around and show you a bit of it anyway. And the last piece. And then this is kind of the length of it. It's funny, I don't remember what square I started with. I can remember my initial 9 squares, but as far as the square that I started with, I have no idea. And this is like the first project bag I ever made. It's from a tea towel that I got for my birthday from one of my good friends, Maeve. And I remember so many people wanted this project bag, but there was no way I could offer it because it was just a one-of-a-kind sort of thing. But I am slowly running out of, I haven't asked for this in a while, but so for those of you who don't really know, the story behind the Cozy Memories blanket is I started this off knitting squares, you know, from projects that I've knit, and then of course remembering the stories. It's snowing outside. How awesome is that? But it's really cold. I mean, it's really warm, so it will melt immediately. That's a side note. Yeah, so I started working it in yarns that I have knit, you know, obviously that remind me of things. And then I started kind of running out of little leftover sock yarns. And then I asked you guys if you wanted to send me your leftovers and then maybe write, you know, I used this in this pair of socks, I used this in this sweater, I used this when I was going through this time in my life. Or even send little pieces of skeins that haven't even been dug into and say, you know, I bought this when I was here. This is my favorite color, or just any little thing that you can kind of tie personally into the mini skein. And then I can knit it into my blanket, and I have all of those little pieces of paper that go with each skein that I've knit so far in a box. And I will probably make that into a little book for looking through, and sure, you don't know exactly which square is which and belongs to which memory. Some of them I remember. But it's just really cool to be able to look through that book and then wear this blanket and know that all these people are tied in. And I love that so many people have now started calling their blanket a Cozy Memories blanket. I think people who don't even watch my podcast and maybe don't even necessarily know why have started calling their scrap mitered square blanket a Cozy Memory blanket. So I think that's really nice. There's a hashtag on Instagram, Cozy Memories blanket, and that's really fun to have a browse through. I definitely enjoy looking through there. And I'm happy that I've been really just having so much fun knitting on mine. So that is kind of the first thing that I started off knitting this week when, since I last saw you. The next thing was my socks. Okay, so I have to show you guys this bag because I think this is the only bag from my shop that I have ever kept. So I initially sewed this bag up for my shop. This is some yarn that I bought this is some fabric that I bought in September when I was visiting my family, when Elodie and I went to go and visit my family. Well, our family. And I saw it at a thrift shop and thought it was really pretty and reminded me, you know, of my Norwegian heritage because it's quite Scandinavian looking. And just like of my grandma, it reminds me kind of like of an apron or something that my great-grandma Ruby would maybe wear or make, or a pretty dress. I could definitely see this being a fabric that my grandma Ruby would like. Not that I ever really knew her. I have no memory of her at all. I don't even know how old I was when she passed away. But I bought it for the shop. I didn't think that it would be something that I would necessarily keep. And then I sewed it up and I knew that of all my project bags, I had to keep this one because I love the way that it looks. I felt that way with a lot of fabric. I had a fabric, really deep blue fabric. I don't even remember what the bag was called, with deer and pine trees. It was so beautiful. A really, really popular one. It always sold right away. And I thought that I would keep one, but I never ended up keeping one. This one I'm keeping. And there's only one other bag like this, and it's already sold from the shop. I do have one more bag in this fabric that will be going up, but it's just with a contrasting fabric like this one of mine. So we'll have this on the top and then some contrasting fabric on the bottom. What? I don't know, some cute little pink and white fabric would be really, really sweet. Like a pale pink, like the zipper here. So anyway, enough of my project bag. It's just really fun to find, and it smelled when I ironed it. When you have older fabrics, for those of you who sew, I'm sure you know this, but when you have older fabrics that are vintage fabric and haven't been used for a long time, when you iron them, that smell, it's an amazing smell. It just smells old, but in a really, really good way, and old and loved. And I got so many memories when I started to iron this fabric. So I love this bag. I know Mary is the woman who bought the twin to my bag, so I hope she loves it as well. So inside of this bag, I have put my Spin Monkey socks. I worked a little bit on these. So I finished the first one. I ripped it out, and then I finished the first foot, closed it up, and then I ripped out the second one. So I'm almost finished knitting this foot, and then I will close it up, and these ones will be finished. And I love this yarn, so I am so excited to wear these. I'm not into bright sock yarn at all. I know I've talked to you guys about this. I'm not into neons. And I really just love the deep tonal variegation of this yarn. And it's fun knitting with Sock Monkey's yarn again. Her yarn, Tara. Her yarn is so... A lot of the indie dyers, I think, buy from the same supplier, and her yarn is really different. I don't know how to explain it. It has a different... It's maybe more tightly plied. I don't know, but I have a feeling these will be really well-wearing socks. And in being tightly plied, they're not too hard. It's still soft, so it's not too kind of rustic feeling, which is good as well sometimes. I have my cute little Lantern Moon sheep tape measure in there, and I love her. She's so cute. And Elodie always sings Baba Black Sheep, so I love seeing that in there. And then I have, of course, my Cake Batter, or Peppermint Kiss chapstick that I received from one of you, as is this. Just fun little extra things that people sent in their mini skeins. So there is that. The next thing that I worked on was another pair of socks. I would really like to do this 12 in 2015 sock challenge where you knit 12 pairs of socks in 2015. I know there is a group 15 in 2015, but I don't think that's achievable for me. I don't even know if 12 pairs is. It is really, really, really snowing. Like lots of little snow coming down hard. If only it was cold outside. That's so sad. It's so sad because Elodie loves the snow. I hope she's looking at it outside at Kita right now and giggling and smiling, and I hope they take the children out while it's snowing. I don't think so though. But anyway, yes, I would love to do the 12 socks in 2015. So it's kind of a goal of mine. I would love to have more and more socks in my sock drawer. So I have my Cake Batter chapstick in here. I got this from my sister. And the first sock is finished. You guys have seen this. Last time I think I had just cast on the cuff of the second one, and I have finished the cuff And this is Sarah Stevens' oh goodness, 2-lane highway road rage. Sarah, I'm sorry if I have that wrong. 2-lane road rage, 2-lane highway road rage. This is such a fun pattern. It's one that I will definitely knit again. It's simple. The slip stitches for some reason make the knitting breeze by. And like I mentioned in the last episode, I cast on 56 instead of the required stitches because the required stitches was too large for me, but it was still easy to modify this for myself. So it's also a toe up pattern, and I knit mine cuff down, so I modified that as well, but it's a really modifiable pattern, super simple. And I think I can see that these will become my favorite pair of socks because I really love the navy blue colorway. Got these from I got these from Santa Claus. They were supposed to be my St. Nicholas gift, but St. Nicholas forgot them. Actually, they arrived too late, but yep, this is my favorite Regia yarn. It is the Regia Sechsfettig tweed, the 6-ply tweed, and I adore it. I really, really love knitting on those. I knit on these on Thursday, I think. I had to go and have my test for the gestational diabetes that I told you guys about, and I had to get my toxoplasmosis test. And so I was waiting there for an hour, and I got most of the cuff done. So, or not most of it, I probably got half of it finished. And yeah, so that was I was really happy to have that with. I had my cuff and I listened to an audio podcast, and the time just flew. So I was really happy to have an audio podcast keeping me company and a sock to knit. It was raining that day, I remember. I decided to walk halfway to the gynecologist, and it was cold. It was cold and rainy and wet, and it's just funny when you decide to be like, okay, I'm going to go for an extra walk. I'm gonna, get a little bit more movement in today, and it starts raining. It started raining, I would say, 30 seconds after I got off of the tram, deciding to, walk. I could have then gotten on a tram, but I was already far away from it, so. And I didn't want to wait. I thought, whatever, I'll just walk. I had a hat, a scarf, or a shawl. And yeah, so the next and final thing that I've been knitting on, and that is so exciting. I'm so excited that I finally decided to pick this up again. I've decided that Coddington from Ravelry, that's her Ravelry name, she must have been sending me some crazy vibes because she told me that on Instagram that she was thinking about and hoping that I would pick this up again. So thank you very much for sending me that motivation for picking it up again, because I did. And let's show you guys what I finished. So I have been knitting. We did with Kristen of the Yarngasm podcast, a fingering weight knit along. And I think that's when it is, because we cast it on together. Kristen ripped hers out, which is totally understandable. She wasn't loving it. And I kept mine going because I was knitting mine in this amazing Quarry Fiber Arts Donegal Tweed Dauphiny Day colorway. And so this is the color. I love it. I think it's so perfect. I'm definitely not an orange person, but the orange in this yarn couldn't be any more perfect. So it has oranges and sea greens and sky blue, gray, and then kind of a natural silvery color. Before I had knit maybe halfway, kind of to my elbow on the arm. And then I finished the first arm. And then just, was it last night? Just last night it must have been that I finished the second arm. So I have 2 arms up here done. So the reason I didn't finish off my arms, they need a ribbing. So this one needs a ribbing. And obviously where is the other one? This other one needs a ribbing. It's because I don't have enough yarn to finish this off. So I'm going to do the ribbing of the cuffs and then the band in a different color. I haven't decided what yet, if I should do it in a sea green or if I should do it in a gray or what. I definitely will do it in a tweed, I'm pretty sure, because it needs to be tied in together. And yeah, I love them. I really, really love the way they turned out. And in my shop, I have these zipper pulls or progress keepers. This one is my favorite, obviously, which is why I'm using it. It's the Tree of Life. I think there's one more in the shop or a couple more. And I love them. It's so nice when, especially knitting a sleeve, because sleeves seem to go on forever. They're not that bad, but it often feels like you are making no progress, or at least that's how I felt. So I had one of these on my sleeve, and it's really nice because when you're starting the sleeve or any project, sock, what have you, you can then see in an hour, in 2 hours, in 30 minutes, however long you've been knitting, how much progress you've made, so that you then feel like, okay, that hour was, I did something. I made a bit of progress. It makes you more motivated to pick it up and work on it in the future because you see what progress you're doing. I hope that makes sense, but like I said, I know when I was knitting on it, until I started using my progress keeper, I felt like this sleeve would take me 5 years. And then I finished both sleeves in a week. So I really believe that this is what helped me in achieving that, as kind of ridiculous as that sounds. It gave me a lot of motivation. So I have so many of these in the shop. So many different really cool zipper pulls. You can, put them on your bags if you want. This is Fairy Tale Castle. And I have so many different ones for any sort of person. Little Red Riding Hood. I have tree ones. I have ones with different seasons. Mermaids even. Woodland creatures. Yarn. I have a lot of different ones. But I use them on all of my bags, and I like to use them on specific projects such as this one. Sleeves or socks. Anything really. So I will probably have to go and order a yarn to use in this. I don't think I have a lot of tweed, especially indie dyed. I want to use an indie dyed one. I definitely will not add a Regia one to this because it's a completely different look than the indie dyed yarn. So I don't know if I will go ahead and order again from Query or if I will maybe get something from Oloops. I've been looking at their shop a lot, and there are a couple of colorways that I really, really love. And we're doing a little trade, so maybe it will be one of the skeins that I ask for. So that is fun. I'm excited to wear it. I don't know if it will fit because I have a lot of water retention in my body. I definitely feel like I am puffing up. My fingers are too puffy. I've had to take off my rings. That one was really hurting. So I've taken them off, and it feels so strange not wearing my wedding rings. It's so weird. I don't like it. But yeah, I definitely feel puffy. It's probably because I'm working a lot as well, so I'm always standing, which I know is not, definitely not the best thing. I have a couple of bags up in the shop I have this, Picnic in the Park. I love to read. There will be one more of those bags and then I won't have any more of that fabric. Grandmother's wallpaper. I love that. That's also an old vintage fabric. Wild and Free. That's one that often stays in the shop for a little while and I really love it. Zaka Handmade. This one's really cool because it has everything handmade on it. Sewing, bobbins, sock making, knitting, patterns, you know, tape measure, just all fun handcrafts, embroidery or cross stitch, whatever you want to call it. I just think that one's really fun. So then I have Love Dove. I just put a couple of, this one's also kind of Scandinavian inspired. I just put a couple of kind of Valentine inspired ones, but ones that you can use anytime really. I do have a couple, I have a lot of fabric coming in the next month that I'm really, really excited about. And I have some new fabrics that I will cut into today. Kind of more whimsical, I would say. A lot of the bags that I have are quite whimsical as well, kitsch, shabby chic in a way. And these ones as well, they're kind of whimsical fairy tale like without being, you know, fairy tale princesses on them. Maybe there's some of that too. But yeah, so the shop has been so busy and so fun. I've also added a lot of stitch marker sets. There are amazing Harry Potter ones. There are some Alice in Wonderland sets. I have tea time sets, baking sets. I have really sweet Woodland set. Little Red Riding Hood. Just so many really, really fun ones that I've put in there. And the prices, I think, for the stitch markers are extremely generous. I think they're really well priced for such, I think they're really good quality stitch markers. Really nice material, and I have a lot of fun making them and putting them together and knowing that someone is going to really enjoy using those stitch markers. I have some made from resin. I think I have some cupcakes, strawberries, mushrooms, and what else is there? Some fun ice cream. And I've been using those on my Cozy Memories blanket, just one, because I use a stitch marker when I'm doing my decreases. So that's been really fun, adding those in there. The buttons have been selling really well. And like I said, I have more things which should be coming by the end of this month. I'm going to go ahead now and start answering some of those questions that you guys have asked me. So there are a lot of them. So I'll kind of do them in order. So how do you do it all? Do you schedule crafting time? Do you plan Monday knit, Tuesday cross stitch, Wednesday Etsy? I don't have an Etsy, but I have an online store. I don't have an Etsy. Thursday, pay attention to the family. As far as how do I do it all, as far as cleaning the house, I'll start that first. I don't have a day that I clean the house. I really, really am kind of anal, that I like, not in a bad way, but I like things just clean and organized. And so I clean up everything as I go. I would not have dinner, as I'm cooking dinner, I'm cleaning. So the kitchen is completely clean by the time we sit down at the table. When we're finished eating, we immediately rinse off our dishes and put them into the dishwasher. I vacuum the house. We vacuum the house about every other day. And usually while we're vacuuming, Elodie will mop the floor. She loves to do that. Elodie's room is cleaned every night before she goes to bed. I clean up everything as I go. I do not like to do one task and then move on to the next task and leave things as they are. That drives me crazy. I can't be creative in a place that isn't clean. So that's how I do that, which makes it really simple. If you're cleaning things up as you go, and I know that a lot of people have trouble doing that, like my husband. It just makes it easier. It makes your cleaning time so it's not so much. There is one task that I don't like, and that's laundry. And thank God Robert usually does that one. I would say that's the one task that I normally do not enjoy doing, because I would rather spend that sitting time folding, knitting, or working for something in the shop. But sometimes it's okay, because Elodie really loves folding laundry, and she is really good at folding towels. She can do that perfect. I never have to refold the towels for her. Same with her shirts, because they're small. As far as crafting time, I work from home, so I do everything that I want to do for the shop in the day, and then if I have an hour left at the end of the day, or 2 hours or half an hour, which happens every once in a while, I would say maybe 1 or 2 days in the week, I have a little bit of time that I can do a little bit of crafting. Then I will. Then I say, you know what? I know I need to sit down and relax. I'm going to sit down and knit. I'm not going to do anything for the shop. I'm just going to sit down and knit. And so then I do that. Robert and I take turns bringing Elodie to bed in the evening, and bringing her to bed takes about an hour. And I don't mean brushing her teeth and washing her face and all of that stuff. We do that together. But as far as going into her bedroom with her, reading her stories, singing songs, and things like that, we don't do that together. We do that with one parent at a time. So that as well leaves me an hour, sometimes to 2 hours of knitting, because when Robert takes her to bed, it takes a lot longer because she would rather go with me. And I've been bringing her forever, because it was just me bringing her to bed because I breastfed her until she was a little over 2 years. So she's kind of more, she has those more comfy feelings with me, if you understand what I mean, as far as going to bed. So it takes him a little while sometimes, and then I have quite a bit of time to knit. Robert also is busy doing things with acting in the evenings. He'll have rehearsals 1 night, 2 nights, sometimes 3 or 4 nights a week, or he'll go away for a weekend. He was just gone for 3 days, so that left me a lot of knitting times in the evenings. When he was gone, I'm in Oldenburg. Elodie went to bed at 8 o'clock, and I stayed up until 1 most mornings. So that was 5 hours of knitting time each night. And I'm really bad about taking breaks in my knitting time. I normally just get up to get something to drink or use the bathroom, of course. And I've noticed that my thumbs are hurting a little bit. So because I'm working all day with my hands, and then free moments I'm knitting. But that's mostly the time that I take advantage of knitting, not when my family is around, not when Elodie is here, and usually not when Robert's here, because you can't really sit down and watch something and snuggle or play a game and knit at the same time. So I have enough, I guess, alone time that I can sit down and do whatever craft I want. But then, yeah, so it's just using my time wisely, I guess. I think that was all of the question. Yeah, I'm working every single day, so it's not like I have a specific day that I'm working. I work every day from 8:30 until the time we get Elodie at Kita. So someone says, in the midst of organizing my craft supplies and trying to decide what is essential, to always have a designated spot by my usual chair. What supplies do you consider essential for multiple crafts? That's from Chari. Okay. I'm definitely not going to answer all of these, I can see, because this will take forever. I do not have a designated. I have a spot where all my crafts are, and that is on a huge, massive shelf from IKEA. And I think it has 25 squares in it. So it's really, really big. And all my yarn is in here, my embroidery, my cross stitch, my sewing stuff. And then I have this space behind me for my work stuff, for all of my brooches, my buttons, my sewing supplies that I use for my work. My sewing supplies and everything else that I use in my free time is in the bedroom and organized. And then I keep 1 or 2 projects in their project bags, usually on my work desk actually, or which is near the sofa. And that's how I do that. As far as which essential craft supplies, it really depends on what craft you do. I know you said for multiple crafts, so I can't think of anything that I would say you use for multiple crafts. Okay, if you could knit anything in the world and money was no object, and of course you had all the time you wanted to knit, what would it be? It says Ine. I've always wondered where in the world this name came from, Nina. So money was no object. Do you mean if I could just knit this one thing and it would be the only thing I could knit the rest of my life? Or if I could just pick one project? I really love knitting socks, but I would probably say, oh my goodness, sweaters would be kind of fun, but that's because I'm really into my featherweight cardigan right now. So if I could only continually buy, if you could knit anything in the world, I don't know if she means one thing. It would probably be a sweater or socks. So when and how did you come to Germany? This will be the last one that I'm answering. Is it home to you already, or do you sometimes think about going back to the US? How do you manage your stash, and do you have a yarn closet? That's from Jilchen or Yilchen. And I already kind of answered the yarn stash, managing yarn. So I first came to Germany maybe 7, 8 years ago. I don't even remember. As an au pair. Oh goodness. I was here then for half of a year, and then I went back to America, and I really, really missed Berlin. I was in Berlin the first time, but I really, really missed Berlin, and so I looked for a new au pair job coming back. So I found one, and I maybe came back within 3 months. I had made quite a bit of friends when I came here the first time. So the first day that I was back in Berlin, this second time around, I called Maeve, the one who gave me the tea towel for my bag. And I said, come on, we really have to go out, maybe have, a couple of beers, and just enjoy me being back in Berlin. We really have to celebrate it. So she didn't want to, and finally she was like, okay, I haven't seen you in a while, we have to do it, so come, let's go. We went out, and we went to the most hilarious street, Oranienburger Straße, which I never go there anymore. It's totally a touristic place, and yeah, but anyway, that's where we went, and we went to Silberfisch, which is near Tacheles, and which Tacheles is fun. It is a fun place. Anyway, so I'm just saying these places for those of you who know or who have been to Berlin or who live around Berlin, but yes. So we went to Silberfisch first, and Robert was there, my husband. So he came over to me, and he started talking to me, and I was not interested in him at all. I just wanted to hang out with my best friend from here. And so that's kind of how I met him. I met him my first day. He followed us around. We went to Tacheles and danced a bit and played some ping pong. And then he must have given me his number or something. And he was from somewhere that was 2 hours away, but he was here in Berlin because his best friend lived in Berlin, and his best friend was celebrating his birthday, his 30th birthday or something, I think. And yeah, so that's how I met Robert. I met him my first day here. I wasn't interested in him. Slowly, I became more and more interested in him, of course. And yeah, so he is German. He's 100% German. I'm American. And then obviously we got married and we had Elodie, and I've lived here ever since. I've lived here ever since I met him. And we go back to America to visit sometimes, of course. And I don't know if we'll ever move back to America. It's obviously a possibility because we could move anywhere, but it's nothing that we think of, no. I really, really love being here in Germany, and I really love Berlin. Every time I go back to America, it's really nice, but it's just different. It's just such a different feeling. I feel much more creative here, especially in Berlin. I don't even know how to explain it. I feel less lazy. I feel kind of more inspired, which goes with being more creative. And I feel like the air is different here. The people are definitely different, especially from Wisconsin. I don't even know how to explain it. For this moment in time, we're definitely happy here. But I would never say never. It's possible that we move to America. But that's why I'm here in Germany. That's why I stayed here in Germany, because I got married to a German and we have a child, and we really, really love living here. So I lived in Halle with Robert for a little under a year, and then we moved to Berlin because Robert is an actor and he was taking classes here. And as an actor, Berlin is, the best place to be in Germany for actors. So that's why we moved here. I'm so happy we did. I knew we would be moving back here when I moved with Robert to Halle. So that was really nice. I would not want to live in Halle all my life. It's a completely different mindset than in Berlin. People are a lot more closed-minded. And while it's nice and quaint and much smaller, I like Berlin a lot. In the future, I definitely would love to move outside of the city. That is one thing that I'm quite sure of wanting to do. We're moving in the summer into the middle of the city, which we kind of already are, but we're moving a bit more centrally located. And our apartment will be so much bigger, which I'm really, really excited about. Twice the size. And yeah, but in time we will hopefully move into a nice, kind of smaller outskirts of Berlin. That's what I'm looking forward to, and having a big yard. And yeah, so that's how I came here to Berlin. You know what's the funny thing is I thought that I would answer all of these questions. But there's no way, because each question has quite a long answer. So there are a lot more, and maybe I will be doing this at the end of each episode, answering, just kind of going down in order, not picking specific ones, but answering them in order as they come. And let me know if you like it, if it's a part of the podcast that you guys are interested in and enjoy. So I will see all of you next week. Hopefully I have some yarn ordered for my featherweight coming this way so that I can finish it. Like I said, I hope it fits. When I put it on now, it's fitting. And what else? That's really it, I guess. I would love to have my socks finished. I would love to have a new pair of socks cast on. Just because I say I don't like colorful socks so much doesn't mean that there won't be some colorful socks in the future. I would love to knit some kind of Valentine's inspired socks. I really love theme inspired socks. That's kind of a love that started happening when I started watching Diane of the Knittables podcast, who isn't podcasting anymore, and I don't even think you can look at her podcast episodes. But I hope you all have a wonderful week, as I said, and I look really forward to seeing you all next week. I'm excited to hear from you all what you're knitting on. Join in the colorwork knit along if you haven't. It's something I need to kind of dip my fingers into because it's my own knit along. And show me what you're knitting. Show me what you've been knitting on, working on, doing, cooking. I would love to hear from and see all of those fun things. See you all next week.